Alright, this video is going to cover day 2 in the Foundational SAE workbook. At this point, your students should have built a profile to 100% and selected their ag course. We have not moved on to SAE hours at this point. Therefore, day 2 you will be using to teach them how to clock the hours, and they will clock hours for what they have done in class. If you have not picked up our visual aid, you're probably going to want to do so. The visual aid looks like this. It gives you the options to do it for activities that you've done through the week, or you can do it at the end of the 6 weeks and you can clump it by units. The benefit of using the visual aid is going to allow you to give students keywords for their unit and topic, their activity level, and description. I would not fill it out completely. I just used the keywords directly from the AET record book. I put it here. We journal 1 or 2 items together, and then I set them free. The visual allows you to be able to float around the room to answer questions and to ensure that the students are completing their hours. Now, let's talk a minute about hours. Your in-class hours, outside class hours, that looks different for different people. So let's make some side notes. Our in-class hours are going to be lessons and activities that are complete during the school day. So ideally, if your class is 45 minutes, you would give the students either 45 minutes or an hour for the in-class. Now, outside class hours are either going to be a continuation of what they learned in the class because it's homework. Or it's going to be SAE hours. So if you have students working on a project, they're making a poster about, they're in Principles of Ag, they're making a poster about byproducts from beef cattle, and they don't finish, and you let them take it home, you could give them outside class hours for that. And when I flip over to the record book here in a minute, you'll see that there's not an option necessarily as outside class hours. So you may want to just simply consider this to be inside and do away with the outside. When I made this, my brain was still working off of record book systems that I used as a student, and my earlier years of teaching is just still part of habit. However, when you look at the workbook, we've given you 2 different activities for each day, for each week. So on day 2, what you see right now pulled up is what I would do in class. Okay, if they don't finish it, they can finish it for homework, and they can clock those hours based on how long they spend on it. Now, the second part that we've got marked as outside class hours, once we have their SAE set up, it's really going to be considered SAE hours. So until you get to the second 6 weeks and actually build the SAE, you can mark all of these hours as class hours. So let's go back here to what we're supposed to be covering. So, okay, during class, the students are going to clock their hours. So you're going to have them log into their record book. When a student logs in, this is what they see, very similar. I'm in on the teacher side, but I am in a student record book. So it usually pops up default onto profile. So you're going to have the students click journal. Then you're going to want students to click time and classroom activities. Although you may be having all these other activities going on, remember, this is set up for students who have never done this before, and we're going to take it step by step. So we're going to just focus on time in classroom activities. Ahead of time, you will align whatever activities you've done in class to the journals that you want the students to complete, including the date. You're going to leave this as course related. It's going to allow them to toggle back and forth between course and their SAE. They have to select a course. Some students are in more than one course, so you want to make sure that they've selected a course. And of course, it's not. There we go. Then you're going to pop up your unit and topic. So for me right now, we are covering professional standards. So I would put that in there and then look at the activity that would be most appropriate. We're going to just go ahead with this. Complete task with high standards to ensure quality products and services. And then in the description would be where they would write sentences based on the activity. The students first off are not going to know what to select for the unit or the activity, and that's where the visual is going to come in place. So my unit, I'm going to split the screen here. In the unit, I would just type demonstrates professional standards. They can use those keywords and find the unit and topic. And then the activity, I might just put tasks with high standards. Description, plagiarism, read and write. Okay, so when the students see this on the screen, of course you're going to want to walk them through the steps. So then they are prompted to know what to select here on their unit, topic, and activity level. And then the description, you've said, okay, it had to do with the plagiarism, read, and write. So students would then have to use complete sentences to fill out the description. Today in class, we read an article about the Venus flytrap, and we had to determine if a student was plagiarizing or not plagiarizing, and then we practiced and could go on from there. If they finish the activity in class, you can give them an hour or 45 minutes or whatever your class time is, and then you can have the students score themselves on it. Once they're done, you can save and enter another, and that's going to allow them an opportunity to enter the next one. So if your visual is filled out completely, then students can work at their own pace. I filled this out on the weekly, but I would use it as daily. So because I'm gonna clock them weekly. All right. So once we save and enter another, it gives you a clean screen. But let's say they forgot to type their time in. If you click on the review your journal entries, you can go in and find, this is the journal entry I just put in. Notice I don't have any time here. So I can select edit, and it brings it back up, and now I can type in, we were in that activity for 45 minutes, and then save. So that allows you the opportunity to adjust your journal entries. So if you're on day 2, you should be at least 2 weeks into school, maybe 3 weeks. So you can do it by doing activities and capturing maybe just your key activities through those 3 weeks, or you could go in and do chunks to catch yourself up and then move into activities. Or if you've got enough time, you may want to journal a few with them on the first day till they get the hang of it, and then next week while students are working, if they finish things, you could say, okay, you're going to go in and keep working on your journal hours to get caught up so that on Friday we can be on track to just journal what we did during the week. Now let's look at what their homework is. So on day 2, students are to write at least 5 interview questions and then find people in the field of study that they want to pursue. Then they are to interview them. It gives them an hour for each interview that they do, and then there must be some kind of documentation. Because this is homework, you're going to want to tell the students how you want the items. Since I'm doing this as outside homework class hours, I would probably attach this particular assignment to Google Classroom and request that they drop pictures there or video footage or whatever they may have into Google Classroom. And then again, when Friday comes around, they can go in to their time in class and journal for that particular activity. So that's Journaling 101. We're only worrying right now about classroom activities. When we get into the SAE or next week, we can look at these other FFA activities and your community service and such, just to make sure that everybody's clocking those correctly. So right now, journal, time in class, and review your journal entries should get you through the day and get your hours clocked. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, make sure that you leave them in the comment section below. Y'all have a good weekend.